What's up everybody, once again my name is Matt and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past. In the last episode we played a couple of minigames, did a few side quests, and now we're here at the entrance to the next temple. So, in this episode, what do you say we head inside and take on the Ice Palace? Now, here's the thing, the Ice Palace is probably one of the more difficult and confusing temples here in the Dark World. I'll even go as far as to say it is my least favorite Dark World temple, so yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it. Like, this temple has a lot of annoying elements. For instance, the ice physics, those are never fun. It's pretty confusing, and there's a whole lot more backtracking than we're used to, so all those things combined don't really make for a pleasant experience, if you ask me. Real quick, let's grab Bombos and use that before these penguins get way too close to me, because they do a lot of damage and they can move very quickly on the ice here. So use Bombos whenever you see a large group of them to get rid of them entirely. And there we go, we got ourselves the compass. Now, real quick, one thing that I do want to talk about is the fact that this temple in particular has been slightly updated on the Game Boy Advance port of this game. I believe it's the only temple to receive any major changes. They changed about 2 or 3 rooms on the Game Boy Advance version to sort of fix an exploit here on the Super Nintendo version. And although I am playing the Super Nintendo version and I would love to show off that exploit, I actually can't because we're missing the item to do so. We need the Cane of Samaria, which I believe is actually the item we get from the next temple, if I'm keeping count correctly. So because I'm doing like everything in order, obviously we don't have that item and we can't make use of the exploit here on the Super Nintendo version. So, like I said early on, there are benefits to playing through the temples out of order, and normally I would have done so, but since I want to present this Let's Play as sort of a guide and a walkthrough, I am doing everything in the correct order. But, yeah, even though the temples might be harder if you do them out of order, sometimes you get benefits like that, where in this case, if we had the cane already, it would essentially allow us to bypass all the annoying backtracking in this temple. But, yeah, they did fix that on the Game Boy Advance port, and you do need to do some of the backtracking in order to, get to the boss of this temple. So, yeah, I figured I would mention that because, I don't know, some of you guys might be playing along, and if you're playing along on the Game Boy version, although there are some changes, the temples themselves, like their layout, is almost identical. So I'll be going through the same rooms that you should be going through on the Game Boy Advance version. You might see me hit a switch that doesn't exist on the Game Boy Advance version, but, I mean, for the most part, you should be able to figure out exactly what you need to do by watching these videos if you're playing on the Game Boy Advance version. I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of those changes, because they did actually make a lot of changes to the Game Boy Advance version of A Link to the Past. Most of them are, you know, not really noteworthy, like maybe dialogue changes, sound effect changes, stuff like that, but that's probably one of the biggest changes they made, was just adjusting this temple to fix that one particular exploit. And believe it or not, this is actually one of the rooms that they did adjust, so this should look entirely different if you're playing on the Game Boy Advance version. Now, I am kind of curious, so when we entered this temple, I told you guys that this was like my least favorite temple here in the Dark World. I'm kind of curious as to what your guys' like favorite and least favorite temples are in this game. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will agree with me in saying that the Ice Palace is, generally speaking, one of the worst temples in the entire game. But who knows, maybe there are some Ice Palace fanboys out there who are like, no man, this temple is great, I love the ice physics and all the backtracking and tedium that goes along with it. So you're wrong, and you know what, if you like the Ice Palace, then more power to you, my man. But I will submit to this, like, the Ice Palace does have a pretty cool boss. It's one of those super chaotic boss fights, and I find that I tend to like those types of fights a lot more in A Link to the Past than I would in, like, other games, just because they add a lot of challenge to A Link to the Past, and they're not really random, I would say. Like, sure, there are elements that can be random, but, I think in A Link to the Past, they've found that, like, perfect balance where it's not too random, but the odds are definitely stacked against you in some particular instances. So, like, you don't need to have the perfect pattern to beat these bosses because there is some skill involved. But, there's just like enough randomness where it's like when you beat it, you feel like you actually accomplished something because there was just so much going on and the odds were so stacked against you that, you know, when you finally do have the stars align or whatever, just like beating the boss is one of the best feelings ever, and that's kind of why I like those bosses more in this game than just the typical bosses that A Link to the Past does have as well. Like, for instance, the boss of the Palace of Darkness where we got the magic hammer. I believe his name was the Helmasaur King. There's not a whole lot of randomness in that fight. Like, there is in, you know, what attacks he does, but the odds aren't really stacked against you that much, so it does become a pretty easy fight that you can, you know, kind of go through the same way every single time, whereas the more chaotic boss fights, like, for instance, the one where we're fighting that, giant moth, I believe that one is Mothula or something like that. That's a super chaotic fight because, you know, the moth can fire projectiles in 3 different directions. There's spikes coming out of, like, the walls. Like, you need to really watch yourself and be careful, so those fights are a lot more fun just because there's a whole lot more going on and the stakes are a lot higher if you ask me. Anyways, believe it or not guys, we're pretty close to finishing up this game. Like, I knew when I started A Link to the Past that it was going to be a pretty short series, but it would actually have been a lot shorter if I was making videos longer than like 10 or 15 minutes because originally, I had planned out maybe 17 or so videos for this entire series, and I think we're actually on episode 17 right now, if my count is correct. So, that's pretty crazy. Like, this could have been the finale video, you know, if I didn't make my video shorter due to the construction and stuff that was going on, or that is going on at my house, actually. And that's sort of the reason why I chose this game, because I knew well, one, it was short, and I kind of wanted to do, like, a shorter Zelda game, and 2, I knew that I could record this even if there was construction going on. Like, it really wouldn't be that big of a deal for this particular game, because there was another game that I was thinking about doing, and I probably will do that game next, not entirely sure, but, you know, we'll see once we're done with A Link to the Past, which should be in maybe the next, like, 5 or so videos. Like, I would imagine by next week, we'll probably be done with this series. I don't want to jinx myself, but it seems that way. Anyways, right inside this chest, we got ourselves the blue mail. So this reduces the damage that we take, and also, it makes us look pretty stinking cool. Look, now we got a blue tunic and a nice gold hat. We are looking snazzy. Now the enemies do a little bit less damage. I believe they do, I want to say 25% less, but I'm pretty sure that's the same stat from A Link Between Worlds. And I could be wrong about that, so I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments. Someone actually already corrected me that I was wrong on the amount of arrows that is your maximum. You can carry up to 70 arrows, not 50. I just assumed that it was the same as bombs, but no, you can carry up to 70 arrows. Why they thought you need 70 arrows, I will have no idea. But yeah, we're gonna need a lot more rupees to finish those upgrades, which is sort of why I'm not really worried about collecting too many rupees, because yeah, I've only gotten 4 since starting this temple, and not nearly close to the 100 I was hoping that would get by the end of this. So yeah, we'll probably have to go and get those arrow upgrades a little bit later on. And wow, you can't sneak through there. That's kind of weird. Alright, whatever. Let's head back up then. I mean, we have to go back up here anyways, because now we're doing all the fun, tedious backtracking stuff. Everybody's favorite, right? And I'll tell you why we're doing this, because guess what? We need to be on the left side of this room. That way we can push one of those blocks down. No, I'm not joking. So, yeah, we need to go all the way around so we can reach the block that's pushable and push it down that hole. So, that's why we needed the red blocks to be up. That way the blue blocks would be down and allow us to push that block. And again, like I said before, if you have the cane, you can skip over all of this backtracking. So, it saves you a ton of time. And, again, that only works on the Super Nintendo version. Like, they fixed it on the Game Boy Advance version. So I guess they really didn't want you going out of order too much on the Game Boy Advance version, since, they really did go out of their way to sort of patch this exploit and make sure you do it the intended way on the Game Boy version, which in a way kinda stinks. Like, that sort of removes one of my favorite features about this game, in that it allows you to do things a little bit differently if you're, you know, clever enough to figure something like that out. Like, not too many people, I would imagine, would figure out that, hey, if I have this item, I can use it to create a block, place it here, and skip the backtracking, at least not on their first playthrough of the game. So, really, I don't see how it's, you know, ruining the experience for players who have probably already gone through this temple at least once to know that they could use the item in that way to skip over, you know, this section. But whatever, I guess it's not too long because we're pretty much already done, so all we have to do is lift up this skull and place the block on top of it. Do you mind? Enemies all over the place, like, just get out of my face, please. Jeez. You know what, just for that, everyone here, you're all dying. Like, one guy had to attack me and ruined it for everyone. So, I need my fire rod very quickly. That is not the fire rod. There we go. Jeez, those two items look very similar. Alright, so now we are essentially done with the temple, because this room will take us to the boss. All we have to do is lift up the giant gray block in the left corner, fall down that hole, and then we'll be at the boss of this temple. So hopefully you guys are ready. I know I am. I actually do know a little bit of a strategy to sort of cheese some damage right at the beginning, so let's do it. And as soon as we hit the ground, pause and grab Bombos and use that as soon as you can. If we did that right, we should get rid of the entirety of the outer shell, and then we can actually start dealing damage to the weird, like, brain matter of the boss itself. And aw, man, I was a little too slow on that spin attack. So, yeah, again, this boss is weak to the fire rod, although your sword now, if you tempered it, does do quite a bit of damage, so not a bad idea to use that either. But try and do as much damage as you can with the fire rod, since it is kind of amazing. And there we go, one of the brains is already gone. Oh, I kind of thought we got rid of a second one there, but I guess we did not. Come on, buddy, just get out of here. There we go, second one gone. And hey, there we go, all three of them. Well, that was not bad at all. We did take a lot of damage, but you know, there was a lot of stuff going on. Plus, it doesn't really matter, since we're gonna get all our health back right once we pick up this crystal, or at least go through this, like, whole cutscene thing. So, another temple down, guys. Not bad at all. Link, because of you, I can escape from the clutches of the evil monsters. Thank you. They say the Hylia people controlled mysterious powers, as did the 7 wise men. But the blood of the Hylia has become thin over time. We who carry the blood of the 7 wise men do not possess strong power anymore either. Our powers will increase if we mix the courage of the knights with the wisdom of the wise men. Only a short time remains until the gate of the castle linking the worlds opens completely. If you defeat Ganon, this world will vanish and the Triforce will wait for a new holder. I believe in you. Good luck. Do you understand? I sure do. May the way the hero lead to the Triforce. Yeah, I've heard that 1,000 times already. Jeez. All you maidens say the same thing, essentially. Anyways, now that we're done with that temple, though, I think that's a good place to end off this video. So if you guys enjoyed this part, a like rating would be greatly appreciated. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. But once again, guys, my name is Matt. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.